Karen swiped a vet's boots. 2 deputies walked her out in handcuffs. What kind of person defaces a memorial meant to honor those who gave everything? In the quiet town of Willow Creek, where the annual Veterans Day ceremony was sacred, Karen Miller decided she was above it all. It was a crisp November morning, and the park was adorned with wreaths, flags, and a pair of combat boots meticulously polished by the local VFW to honor Sergeant Daniel Harper, a hometown hero lost in Afghanistan. By noon, those boots lay in the dirt, kicked over like trash, and Karen stood at the center of the storm, smirking as if she'd won some invisible battle. The truth unraveled fast. Karen, a local real estate agent known for her loud opinions and louder social media rants, had been vocal about her disdain for the town's obsession with its veterans. "They're just boots," she'd posted on X the night before, mocking the memorial's symbolism. "This town needs to move on." Her words lit a fuse in Willow Creek, but no one expected her to show up at the park that morning, fueled by entitlement and a vendetta no one fully understood. Witnesses saw her storming through the memorial, knocking over tributes like a one-woman wrecking crew. The boots, carefully placed by Daniel's aging father, were her final target. She didn't just nudge them, she kicked them hard, sending them tumbling into the mud, scattering the flowers and handwritten notes left by schoolchildren. But Karen didn't act alone, or so it seemed at first. A teenager, 17-year-old Jake, was spotted nearby, filming the whole thing on his phone, laughing nervously. The crowd assumed he was her accomplice, egging her on. Jake, a quiet kid who'd lost his older brother in the same war as Daniel, was no stranger to grief. His presence added a twist that cut deeper than Karen's actions. Was he mocking the memorial too? The truth was uglier. Karen had bullied Jake into recording her, threatening to get his mother fired from her job at Karen's agency if he didn't comply. Jake's shaky footage, later recovered by police, showed him pleading with her to stop, his voice cracking as she laughed and kept going. The confrontation came swiftly. 2 deputies, Officers Ramirez and Cole, were patrolling nearby when a call came in from an outraged onlooker. By the time they arrived, the park was a battlefield of emotions. Karen stood defiantly by the toppled boots, arms crossed, daring anyone to challenge her. "It's public property," she shouted, as if that justified her rampage. The crowd, veterans, families, even kids holding tiny American flags, watched in stunned silence. Ramirez, a former Marine whose own brother had served with Daniel, approached with a calm that barely masked his fury. "Ma'am, step away from the memorial," he said, his voice like steel. Karen scoffed, launching into a tirade about her rights, her voice shrill against the murmurs of the crowd. Cole, younger but no less resolute, held up the handcuffs. "You're under arrest for vandalism and disturbing a protected site," he said, cutting through her bluster. The crowd erupted in cheers, but the moment wasn't triumphant, it was heavy. Karen's defiance crumbled as Ramirez grabbed her arm, guiding her toward the patrol car. She twisted, shouting about lawsuits and small-town conspiracies. But the deputies were unmoved. Jake, meanwhile, stood frozen, tears streaming down his face as he clutched his phone. An elderly veteran, Mr. Thompson, approached him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You didn't do this, son," he said, having overheard Jake's pleas in the video. That small act of kindness shifted the crowd's anger, redirecting it solely at Karen. Karen's downfall was as public as her crime. The deputies walked her through the park, past the crowd that had grown to dozens. Faces she'd known for years, neighbors, clients, even her old high school teacher stared back with disgust. Someone shouted, "You dishonored Daniel," and the words hit like a slap. Karen's smirk was gone, replaced by a mix of panic and defiance as she realized the weight of her actions. The boots, now being carefully upright by a group of veterans, stood as a silent rebuke. Jake, still shaken, handed his phone to Ramirez, who promised the footage would clear his name. The video spread on X within hours, amassing thousands of views and comments calling for justice. Karen thought she was untouchable, one post read. Now she's the town pariah. The legal consequences were swift. Karen faced charges of vandalism, desecration of a memorial, and coercion for her threats against Jake. At her hearing, she tried to spin a story of being provoked by the town's overzealous patriotism. But the judge wasn't having it. The footage, combined with testimony from Jake and multiple witnesses, painted a clear picture. She was sentenced to 6 months in county jail, 200 hours of community service ironically, cleaning up public parks, and a hefty fine to restore the memorial. The real punishment, though, was social. Her real estate business tanked as clients dropped her en masse. Her X account, once a platform for her rants, was flooded with condemnation. She'd wanted attention, and she got it, just not the kind she'd hoped for. Jake's story took a different turn. The town rallied around him, raising funds to help his family after Karen's threats came to light. Mr. Thompson, the elderly veteran, invited Jake to join the VFW's youth outreach program, giving him a chance to honor his brother's memory. The boots, polished once more, were placed back at the memorial for the next Veterans Day, this time with a small plaque, in memory of Sergeant Daniel Harper, forever standing tall. The ceremony that year was bigger than ever, with the whole town turning out not just to honor Daniel, but to reclaim the space Karen had tried to ruin. In the end, Willow Creek didn't just rebuild a memorial. It rebuilt its sense of community. Karen's actions, meant to tear people apart, only brought them closer. Her name became a cautionary tale, whispered in coffee shops and posted online. The woman who thought she could trample on sacrifice and walk away unscathed. But justice, like those boots, stood firm. What do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved? Or should the town have shown her mercy? Share your thoughts, because stories like this remind us what's worth fighting for.